Hi, this is William from Great Affordable Watches, and in this video I'm gonna review the Portsea from Melbourne Watch Company. And as always, let's start off with the specifications first. The case size is around 40mm in diameter. The lug-to-lug length is around 47.7mm. The case thickness is around 13.1mm. Got a lug width of 20mm, a sapphire crystal with anti-reflective coating on the inside, and it's water resistant down to 100 meters or 10 ATM. It also got the Miura 9122 movement, which features triple calendar with the day, month and date here at 6 o'clock. And the Miura 9122 is of course based on the very popular Miura 9000 series. And if you've seen my previous videos, you know I'm a big fan of the Miura 1915 movement. I think it offers great specifications for the money. It's often found in pretty affordable watches, and I think it's both good looking, performs excellent, and it's relatively thin as well. And because the 9122 is basically the same movement as the 1915 but with added triple calendar, the same good things can be said about this movement as with the 1915. But now let's move on from the specifications. Melbourne Watch Company was established in 2013, and it's of course based in Melbourne, Australia. And all the assembly and quality control is done in-house by Melbourne Watch Company themselves, which is really nice to hear. And the design of this watch is of course very similar to a typical marine chronometer. And the dial of this watch got different layers with a main plate with stripes, horizontal stripes, and an outer ceramic layer which looks really nice. It reminds me a bit of an enamel dial, which really suits the marine chronometer look of this watch. So yeah, I really like the different layer of this watch. The same can be said about the sub-dials. Each of them are on a separate plate, so to speak, and they are raised from the main plate in the middle. And I think this gives this watch a bit of a unique look and take on the typical marine chronometer look. So yeah, I think they have done a really nice job with the dial, and I really like that it's symmetrical with the sub-dials and the date at 6 o'clock. Also the hands are blued. I couldn't really find any information how they achieved the blue steel, and I guess they are not heat treated blue, unfortunately, but they are definitely not painted either. And there are different methods in achieving a blue steel. So yeah, I'm not really sure. Perhaps I do some more digging and put it in the description. So yeah, the dial is really nicely done. As I said, I really like the ceramic outer layer, and it's nice to see a dial made with a more, I should say, exotic material perhaps. Now, ceramic is not that exotic, but yeah, it's fun nonetheless. The crown is of course signed with the M for Melbourne, and the crown looks really nice. I always like a good looking signed crown, of course. And the same can be said about the case. It's all polished, but the polishing done on the case is actually really nicely done. A very high level of polishing, which is really nice to see. One other thing I absolutely love about this watch is actually the case back. The case back is probably one of the better case backs I have seen on a watch of this price. And the price of this watch is 875 Australian dollars, which translates to about 600 US dollars. So yeah, the case back is absolutely gorgeous, and these days we typically see an open case back, and I think it's really nice to see a good looking solid case back. I'm a big fan of that actually, even though I really like a see-through case back, especially with the Miura 9000 series, as I think that series is really good looking as well. But this case back is absolutely gorgeous, and I'm glad they went with this one instead of an open case back. Okay, what are some positive things about this watch? As I said, the dial is really nicely done with the different layers. I think they've done a great job at doing a bit of a different take on the typical marine chronometer design. So yeah, that's really nice, especially with the ceramic. The polishing on the case is really nicely done as well. I always appreciate a good finishing. You can definitely see that they have not cut cost. Perhaps I would like to see some brushed surfaces, but then again, this is a marine chronometer, very dressy, very classy looking watch, so a whole polished case do suit the design of the watch. And the case back is also extremely well made, and I really applaud them for having a case back like this. Okay, what are some of the negative things about this watch? Even though this is an excellent watch for your money, at $600 you get a good movement and all that, a really nice design, good finishing, but there are two things I noticed about this watch, and they are not deal breakers, of course. The first one is the crown. Even though it's really nice looking and yeah, it suits the watch overall, it's a bit hard to grip when you wind it. But now, of course, this watch is automatic, but it's always nice to wind a watch that features manual winding. So yeah, it's a bit hard to grip the crown. It's not impossible at all, it's just a bit harder than I would like to, and I would like to see that they perhaps make it a bit bigger or easier to grip. But yeah, it's not a deal breaker, it's still possible to manual wound it, but it feels a bit slippy. And the last negative thing is that it's a bit thick at 13 millimeters. I know that the Miura 1915 is a very thin movement, and I'm sure that the triple calendar that this watch got doesn't add too much height to the movement. So I'm sure that they could have made the case a bit thinner perhaps. It's not a huge watch by any means, it's not that thick, but I've seen thinner watches with the Miura 9000 series movement. This leads me to another positive thing about this watch, which I really appreciate, and we can do a quick reshot and talk more about that in a second. Be right back. Okay, here it is, and as we can see, it wears really nicely on my wrist. It's not that thick, it's a bit thicker than some other watches, as I said, with the Miura 9000 series in it, but I think the dimensions of 40 is really nice for this kind of watch, and the marine chronometers tend to be a bit bigger at even 44 millimeters. But one other positive thing I want to mention about this watch, which I really like, is that it's actually water resistant down to 100 meters or 10 ADM, and that can add to the thickness of this watch, but I am really glad that they have gone for this kind of water resistance. It's not a diver by any means, but they could have easily gone for 30 or 50 meter water resistance, and nobody would have really cared. But at 100 meter water resistance, you can easily wear this every day. You can get it wet, you don't have to worry about damaging the watch really, with water at least. So yeah, that's a big positive thing for me, and it really make me feel more comfortable wearing a watch. And yeah, I think it's just nice to see a classy and dressy watch like this with a water resistance of 100 meters. Before we end this video, I'm gonna show you how to operate the triple calendar, so be right back. Okay, how to operate the triple calendar. This is actually new for me, as I have never owned a watch with this complication before. So at the first position, when you pull the crown out, if you wind it counterclockwise, you can change the day, and if you wound it clockwise, you change the date. And the easiest way to change the month is actually pushing this button here. So not very complicated at all, and I don't know how useful this complication is, because I never really owned another watch with it, but I can definitely see that for some people this can be very useful. I prefer the date, of course. I think that can be very useful, but yeah, it's a very interesting complication nonetheless, and it looks really good, very symmetrical, which I like. Okay, So to end this video, I think this watch offers really great value for your money. I think it's good looking, good finishing, with a great movement, and the design of course is a real highlight. Good size of the case, etc. So yeah, I really like this watch. It could have been a bit thinner and a crown that is easier to grip, but other than that, I really like this watch. Let me know down in the comment section what you think of it. Do you like it? Do you think it offers good value for your money? So if you liked this video, please leave a like, and if you didn't, then leave a dislike. And if you haven't subscribed already, please do that for more watch related content. Okay, thanks for watching, and I hope I see you in the next one.